Hey fellow Vault Dwellers, it's Angry Turtle, and today I have for you a very special build. What, if nothing else, but maximum possible damage in Fallout 76 matters? Did you ever fancy such a build? How much sacrifice will that be to go this path? I have that in here for you. And today we start from a damage showcase, because that's the most important part, and then we'll dive in how this damage is achieved. Okay, let's see what this build can do versus the snake. I have already all the food applied. Bubblehead, so on. No. Revenant applied. Will you heal? I will use some spoiled stuff as I don't want to waste my toxic goo. I have toxic goo too. Let's load up on the glow. It's essential to do damage. As I'm going forward, I will load in Bullet Storm. Yeah, that's a waste of ammo, I know. Normally you don't need to do it, but let's see the full damage. So for the full damage, we do need to waste some ammo. We need to get those stacks up before we activate the snake, but not too long, because then, yeah, Revenant and other stuff would expire. Reload it. Make sure overdrive is running. Make sure the weapon heats up. And we are moving forward. Let's see what we can do versus snake. Now we apply all the slime cake as I need AP. Hitting eye of the snake. How is the damage? I think it's quite impressive. I'm not sure if I apply enough slime cake, slightly draining my AP, so that was my mistake. Probably 2 slime cakes short from the proper bonus. But the damage, I would say, you can see the damage here. Tail came into the way, but yeah, 29 seconds with small mistake. Could have been faster. I cannot redo it, as now I'll be back on stage 1, so I cannot redo the showcase to give you a beta time. Beta time is possible, if not the fact that I quit VATS to apply additional 2 slime cakes. That would be about 25 seconds. The best in the world? Up to speedrunners to do best in the world. For me, solo, for my skill, the best for me. And just for those of you that do not fight Snake very often and you have no comparison how much damage was that, let's do a Scourge Beast. Level 100 Legendary Scourge Beast, so more health than regular. Let's see what we can do in here. First, let's kill some of those Scourge. Should be relatively easy to get them all down. I'm not wasting yet any slices. Now, what do I have? Slices of pumpkin pie. I ran out of the slime cake, so now it will be the pumpkin pie. And there is a Scourge Beast, so let's pop. How many? I should all 8 probably, if I want to maintain my VATS long enough. And let's see what can we do. Legendary 1-star Scourge Beast. Yeah, that's it. So for those of you that face Legendary Scourge Beast a lot, that never face Snake, you have a reference point here. And now let's jump into the details. How this build actually works, and is it worth it? And now into the details on the build. Special, it is very, very endgame build, to be absolutely clear. You need to have absolutely everything. This is special before application of legendary perks. Legendary perks: agility, luck, intelligence, endurance, and strength. So 25 total bonus special. It was necessary to include 25, as well as taking 1 for the team for increased damage. So you need to be on the team. You may notice no follow through. The reason for that, on the snake, stealth is disabled, follow through would do nothing. If you are looking to maximize your damage just for the Guardian, that's totally different story. The Guardian is a very special case when limb damage matters the most and not your overall damage, and when stealth is temporarily available, so that's a different story. This build is max DPS for endgame bosses overall in Fallout 76, like the Snake, let's say Williams, and all of those bosses that you go and intended as well as a team effort. But you can use it solo, as you are able to see. Now, What is in here and why it's so important? A lot of special. The build carried the most of the damage. The stuff that I was consuming adds up a little bit on top, but the build itself carried most of all the damage we're able to see. For example, the regular Scourge skill, if I apply all those bonuses or not, it will be about the same. At the time I arrived at Fissure's site, my Revenant buff was already expired, so yeah, that was with most already running out. Now, what gives the most damage and what gives little damage but still is included? Bring the big guns, so definitely all the onslaught system kicks in for a lot of damage. Bullet Storm, Lock and Load, that's the onslaught system. Easy target, as soon as singular limb is crippled, kicks in extra damage that do apply for the Scourge Beast fight. It was not really used on the Snake fight, because in case of the Snake, I could cripple Plate A, it's possible, but without the teammates, it's pointless effort. I can just kill it in the same time, but by aiming into eye of the Snake. So I would be a little bit slower taking down one limb of the Snake, so it doesn't make point in case of a Snake. For most enemies, the weak spot can be crippled. The Snake is like exception. I start firing faster with Tightly Wound, therefore I do more damage. Like if I start firing a second faster, I have 1 more second towards my DPS. Then Brick Wall. Why is that in here? Because bosses, almost every single boss, have a staggering attack. Therefore, if I avoid being staggered, I continue dishing out damage. So Brick Wall is very important. No stagger, no break from firing. Perception. Number Cruncher, more damage. Tormentor, more damage when limb is crippled. Tank Killer, armor piercing, so more damage. Concentrated Fire, damage goes up as I'm firing in VATS, and accuracy goes up, so more damage again. Awareness. You would think, like, this is not damage turtle, what is that doing here? This is a damage when I remove missed bullets from the equation. Without this card, I am missing a bunch of bullets early on before Concentrated Fire ramps up. I'm missing way less with Awareness equipped, therefore yes, that's more bullets on target, higher DPS overall. Downranger, and now 2 options here. If I'm absolutely solo, I would equip Downranger, but only if I'm absolutely solo. Normally on this build, what I will have, let me adjust that, I would have rank 1 Downranger and Dilsila, as Dilsila can increase our damage by a little bit more. With just 1 affliction, which is, let's say, crippled limb, it will give 10%, so basically the same value as if I would run Downranger max out. But as soon as Poison, Fire, or Cryo is applied to the enemy, I'm getting another 10% and another. So on the team, when there are teammates to help, Dilsila is superior, so that will be here on the build. There are as well some options. If you are going to fight the Guardian, you need to do any additional swaps. The Guardian will not really benefit much from Dilsila, it will not benefit from Downranger at all, so going on the Guardian, you will switch that and equip Senta Masochist. So yes, if you want to customize per enemy, you can do additional perfect swaps per enemy. It is perfect at this moment for endgame bosses, all of them, when you are on a team. Solo, you can slightly customize, but I don't think there is a point to really go on endgame bosses solo. There's no more rewards. Endurance. And again, you may say, like, that's not a damage. Why is that here? It is a damage. Without Life Giver, it will be very hard to have enough rats for Break Wall to work at all times. So that will die, and I will get staggered. So I need more health. I need a little bit of tankiness, just enough so I can kill the boss before my glow drops and allow the boss to stagger me. So minimum amount of tankiness to be able to drop the boss before boss can drop me. That's the idea here. As well, Bullet Shield does reflect damage back to attacker. Therefore, yes, that's defensively offensive pair. It reduces damage I'm taking and increases damage on a target. Charisma. Strength in numbers, stronger mutations, self-explanatory. Revenant, 25% damage for 2 minutes. As you were able to see, self-revive works, so I can self-revive and get this bonus. Tenderizer, more damage as the fight goes forward, up to 100%. Solo you will not achieve 100%, on the team is very much possible. 1000 hits require for 1000%, and multi-projectile weapons do not count, so yeah, one shot, one hit for purpose of this card. Intelligence, Demo Expert, as Gauss Mini is explosive, so I'm boosting it a little bit. Very minimum effect, to be honest, from Demo Expert, but exists, so for max DPS build, it's here. Science, works or all energy damage, and we are running Gauss Mini with energy. Science Monster, more damage. I need to have glow again, so some tankiness is needed. I cannot lose the glow or I will lose this bonus. Agility, Gunslinger, weak spot damage, one of the most powerful perks, so it's here. Full Onslaught. Full Onslaught to increase damage to close enemies, to increase weak spot damage, and there is as well a reload speed on 1, and I do have regular Guerrilla, that's extra damage to close enemies. And you may say Snake is not a close enemy. Overall not, but when it attacks with his melee head bump, it's getting close to you and it switches and this activates. So we are switching between downranger and damage to close enemies. So it is valid. Ganfu. In case of the Snake, we cannot really switch, but in other boss fights, there's more enemies. On Snake, you kind of can switch a little bit if you target and kill tail first and then switch to the head with Ganfu. It's just not worth targeting tail, that's the thing. So in theory possible to use, not really in practice. Adrenaline doesn't work on the Snake as there's no more enemies, but on any other boss fight there's plenty of enemies to stack Adrenaline. After that, Luck, very important for damage. 100% crit damage from better crits. Then there is Glowing crits, another 50% bonus damage. Only available for ghouls. And yeah, I am Ghoul, because Ghoul is a little bit higher damage overall possible than Blooded Human. So Ghoul is not a mistake. Highest DPS build is Ghoul. Faulty spots, that's the real secret for Ghoul to win versus Blooded. Faulty spots is a multiplier. So Blooded 80% Nerd Rage bonus is about as efficient as Faulty spots. So Faulty spots compensate for ghouls, and ghouls do not need to be low health. Faulty spots gives the damage, and we are winning versus Blooded Human in DPS content. Crit Savvy, so we can crit every other shot. Ricochet, again, doesn't look like damage per card, but it is. Deflected bullets will do damage, so a little bit more damage. In case of the Snake, works as well. The Snake acid attack, it counts as like a machine gun acid attack. Some of the acid can be deflected and will hit the Snake. So yes, it does add a little bit of DPS during the acid attack. Not very much, yes, I know. Now, how is it possible that I have crits every second shot and what else comes here? That's the gear and mutations. We'll cover mutations briefly. There is nothing special in mutation category. I'm using Adrenal Reaction Serum to suppress a side effect of losing health. So I'm not using Class Freak, so otherwise side effects are quite significant. So those are the mutations. Eagle Eyes matters for more damage. Egghead increases damage through Science per card. Herbivore because damage. Yet the strongest food for damage is Herbivore. Herd Mentality for special Marsupial. We may need jumping. Serum expired, but normally I would suppress the negative intelligence bonus. Speed Demon to reload faster, move faster. Sometimes it may be very helpful. The food, do I still have it? Yes, so that's what we are talking about. Blight Soup, 120%, 25% crit damage. That's very important, and I think just expired, but it was running a moment ago. So I will check my freezer. There's one more food that's very important. Black Eye Susan Sufin. That's 25% overall damage. Already expired as I'm talking about the build, but it was there. Bubblehead and Magazine. Big guns, 20% heavy gun damage. And the magazine. Is the magazine still running? It should be. Tesla Science 9. 100. Oh, doesn't say, but it's 100% heavy gun crit damage. So another 100% to heavy gun crit damage. Overdrive itself, so that's the chem that we applied, increases the damage. 15% overall damage, 30% critical damage. So overall, for VATS, the best booster that we can apply. So temporary boosters have been used. Without them, still very high damage, slightly lower. Now the gear, which is fully optimized as well. You may notice it's a lucky hit on the 3-star, not VATS optimized. Why is that? Because thanks to that, I can achieve a critical every other shot with just one piece of limit breaking. The AP cost goes up, but in return as well, damage goes up thanks to Number Cruncher perk. So if only damage matters, I don't care that I need to consume 15 coffee at once to run this gun continuously. And if you are on consoles, yes, you can consume coffee very fast, but if your Pip-Boy is lagging when you have too many items, it may be a problem. How you consume many coffee on consoles? You pre-select it, like you will use your buttons to pre-select it, close Pip-Boy, reopen, and then you just spam it like that. Press the use button. Whenever you open Pip-Boy, whatever last thing were selected will be still selected. So you can do it. You can do it. And that's the only one weapon we have. Armor. Only power armor matters. There is a helmet. Internal database for a little bit more damage from science, or you could run with more VATS accuracy. Either way, it's similar effect. Then entire set comes with troubleshooter's luck through hikers for me. Through hikers is important, as I have no room to reduce weight with a perk for coffee, and you need a lot of stuff to spam VATS. You need a lot of AP region stuff, so you need some kind, somewhere, of coffee weight reduction. So we have that. Luck, very important to hit our criticals every other shot. Prefix doesn't matter. It's less damage from robots, absolutely doesn't matter. For Ghoul, overall best would be Lucid. I did not unlock it yet, so I cannot use it. All limbs have range weapon bonus damage. So that's Rangers 4-star legendary. That's on all the limbs. All the limbs are the same. And then, and about Ultra Sight Bracers, they no longer apply to range weapons, so unfortunately they do not. They used in the past, that's why they're here. I need to swap it to something else, like Gimbal Bracers, but for now it doesn't matter damage-wise in VATS what mod there is on arms. The torso. The torso, that's the only piece that we are running with limit breaking. One piece of limit breaking and lucky on the weapon, plus total of 28 luck gives me critical every other shot. So that's the magic number. 28 luck with this combo, criticals every other shot. And that's a lot. Like, to use this build, that's a lot. You can use it. As you may see, we sacrificed all quality of life. Everything quality of life department is sacrificed. Even no room for ammo weight or increased duration of bubble heads and magazines. So only default one. No room. Everything, if I would swap, I would sacrifice a tiny bit of damage. I don't want to do. This build is 100% damage. Damage, damage, damage. Damage per second. So DPS build. Full DPS. Did you ever try something like that? Are you a fan club of the damage builds? Or you prefer balance builds like myself? Honestly, I will not be running this build very long. I will switch to something more balanced. I don't want to be tied into just the DPS build that I don't, honestly, need on daily basis or even in the raid in Fallout 76. With a team damage build, balance builds, will still kill the snake in about 30 or 30, a little bit over 30 seconds. Yes, I killed the snake solo here faster than I normally kill it with a team. But how much does it matter? Or does it? You let me know. And that being said, thank you all for watching, and see you all in the next one.